Hey everybody, it's 7 o'clock my time. I don't know where it is your time, but 7 o'clock my time. That means it's time to start our fun Facebook session. So I'm gonna kind of give people like a minute or so to sign in and like just be here. So Kelsey's here. Hey Kelsey. If y'all don't know who Kelsey is, she's awesome. And I hope it's working well. I've never used this technology before. The Biking for Babies team knows that I'm like not the most technologically savvy, if you will. That's just like not really my gift. But we're making it work. And so far, 2 people are on. Hey, Tim, that's my husband. My husband's supporting you too. Love you, babe. And, so it's really good that this is working. I'm really glad because just a little while ago, I'm on my husband's computer and we were getting this set up and all of a sudden it was like, oh, you have to download Google Chrome, which he doesn't have on his computer. And I was like, oh no, what do I do? And then something else happened and it said that I have to download something else. So, but we figured it out. It's working. It's great. It's good that people are here. I'm really glad for that. I have a lot of exciting things to share tonight, so and I'll kind of cover a little bit of everything about Biking for Babies, which is really cool. Kind of a comprehensive look at where we've been, where we're going, what we're trying to accomplish, which is really, really cool because anyone who's done a national ride with Biking for Babies or has seen the bikers on the road or has heard about Biking for Babies, just thinks it's, you know, it's really unique. There's not really much like it in the pro-life movement, except for Crossroads, which those guys are ballers too. They're awesome. But Crossroads is probably the like most similar kind of organization out there in the pro-life movement to Biking for Babies. So we feel a really unique niche, and it's really cool to see people kind of step up to that. Erin, hey Erin. Erin just texted me a little while ago. It was good to talk to her for like 2 seconds, even though I missed her text message, but it was good. So anyways, we're just going to go ahead and get started. And this video will save, and so people can check it out later. It'll be a good tool for people to share in case they're friends and family that wanted to be here tonight but couldn't. Something that they can just kind of see exactly what's happening in the organization and what Biking for Babies is and how they can get involved. So I'm really, really excited to share that with you guys. So just like in all of our staff meetings, I really want to start with prayer. So let's do that, shall we? In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for our blessings and for your goodness in our lives today. We're grateful for you sharing your life with us and sharing eternal life with us. Thank you for all the different ways that you interact with us. We know that you're not just some guy in a cloud somewhere, but Lord, you intentionally love each one of us. You hold us each in existence. And we're so grateful for that. Lord, I ask that you would bless all the people who are watching this video, all the people that are going to be watching this video, and continue to bless our ministry so that we can be a blessing to others. It's in your name that we pray, amen. So, wow, numbers are going up. This is so exciting. Okay, so I first want to share with you guys like why Biking for Babies exists. I don't know, it's really special, but we exist to change the culture. We are all about making respect for life on the forefront of people's minds. We're here to change the culture. We're here to build a culture that respects the inherent dignity of every single person, from conception to natural death. Hey, Claire. And we know that that's not a thing that's in our culture right now. We saw just today that the Senate did not pass one of the bills that could have prevented late-term abortions after 20 weeks. That didn't get passed. It's not a thing that our culture is entirely respecting the dignity and the beauty and the goodness of human life. That's not here yet, but that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to change that and to build that. We want to end the need for abortion, and to give women real hope, real chances, real resources. In a little while, I'll tell you a little bit about some of the things that are happening at different pregnancy resource centers that we have supported in the past and hope to support in the future. And you can see there are very, very concrete things happening to save lives that wouldn't necessarily be happening if people didn't donate to them, because they're not getting a lot of federal money. They're not getting a lot of tax dollars, unlike other organizations. So we want to give women real resources. We want to share the love of Jesus Christ. Absolutely. Without him, why are we even here? What is the point of trying to do this? It's all for him. It's all because of him. And all of our glory goes back to him, but really we're just trying to live out a life of discipleship, of love, of sharing his life with other people, both for our missionaries that join us, and then also for all of the women that come into the resource centers that we support. They need to know Jesus Christ. They need to know his love. And even if they walk away and haven't necessarily had like a religious conversion, if you will, maybe they just have a conversion of heart, of knowing that they are loved and that they are cherished and that they're respected. All of that needs to happen. And we don't see that enough. We see that there's still a huge need for that. So we want to bolster that in our culture. And we want to form pro-life missionaries. Gosh, there are so many young people in our world that are willing to do different things, right? We see there's this beautiful generation coming up who, no matter what people say, that like they get passionate about things, even if they're weird things. You know, I'm a middle school youth minister. Some of the things they get obsessed about are strange. You know, we can just go ahead and say it. But at the end of the day, they're really passionate about a lot of things. And what better way to put that passion to a specific purpose, to direct that passion into a life-saving ministry? You know, there's nothing more beautiful than seeing someone's passion and their talents come to good use and to fruitfulness through our organization. We want them to always like walk away and know that no matter where they are, no matter what their circumstances, no matter who they're talking to or where they are called to defend and to celebrate life. We share that celebration of life all the time. Our national banquet, if you can call it that, we have had it at like picnic tables on the park and stuff. We're not like a fancy banquet kind of group, but our national banquet is called a celebration of life. We really want to celebrate and respect life and share that dignity and worth with all the people that are around us. So those are all kind of the things that we want to do, you know, like why the organization exists as a whole. Yes, there are some specific things that we do that I didn't mention, but like that's really why we are existing. So how do we accomplish those goals? Oh man, there's so many different things that we do and they're so beautiful. So let me just share a couple of them with you. We support pregnancy resource centers across the country, right? So there's pregnancy resource centers are life-affirming centers that give women resources that they need, whether it's pregnancy testing, maybe it's STD testing, ultrasounds, counseling, prenatal care, baby clothes, educational classes for new parents, whatever it is. These centers will give men and women who are facing unexpected pregnancies these different things almost always free of charge. Now, how beautiful is that? That doesn't happen a lot of places. A lot of places you have to go and pay for care. We know that. But these pregnancy resource centers almost always hand out these kind of things free of charge. They are just beautiful centers that are filled with lots of hope. They're filled with warmth. They're filled with love. They're filled with a staff that genuinely cares about the women and the men and the children that walk through their doors. They are filled with like just good responses to wherever women are. So a lot of times women will come into these centers and have no support system. They will be terrified. They'll be scared. What will my friends think? You know, what will my parents think if I'm actually pregnant? You know, oh my gosh, this was not supposed to happen. This was not supposed to happen to me. I'm in college, you know, I should be getting my education, not having a baby right now. Or I'm trying to start a new career and I should not be having a baby. Like, what do I do? And the staff that are at these pregnancy resource centers sit there and they listen and they love on these women. And they tell them that it's all right and that there's support for them and there's help for them to help them through this really difficult time for a lot of people. So we support these centers by collecting donations from people across the country, and all of the money that we receive goes to the centers. So 100% of our donations go to our centers. Right now where we are, we have had some generous donors that cover all of our costs of running our organization. And the missionaries that come in, they pay for a lot of their costs as well. But all of our donations collected for the pregnancy resource centers go straight into their hands, which is amazing. You look at a ton of other 501c3s, nonprofit organizations, that doesn't happen. But with us, it does. And how cool is that? So each year we give, and well, I guess in the past, we've given around $2,000-ish to different pregnancy resource centers across the country. Last year, we supported 41 different pregnancy resource centers across the nation, all the way from Florida to Texas, into the middle of the country in Missouri, up into Wisconsin, over in New Jersey. I think at one point we had, last year we had one that was out in Washington State, literally across the nation. These centers will apply for partnership with us, and they just receive the money at no cost to them. It's just a wonderful gift that we're able to give them through the generosity of other people. So we also meet all of our goals and our mission by providing resources to these pregnancy resource centers. So one of our big pushes, especially this year, kind of different and new than previous years, is connecting pregnancy resource centers with one another, because there's not a whole lot of that happens in the pro-life movement. And there might be. It just kind of is like behind closed doors, if you know what I mean. So for example, most pregnancy resource centers are not under like one umbrella organization like Planned Parenthood is. Everyone knows the name Planned Parenthood. Everyone knows like what they do and where they are and how to find them, that kind of thing. And most pregnancy resource centers are not like that. They're like individually owned, locally owned, often owned by or supported by different religious organizations or churches, and they're very, very small with little connections. So hi, Father Patrick and Dirk. Hi, guys. And so we're trying to connect these pregnancy resource centers to be able to share resources with all of them, both from what we have, what we've collected from pregnancy resource centers over other years, but then also so they can share exactly what they're doing, best practices, stories of hope, stories of loss, things that they can learn from. Whatever it is, we're trying to connect them and provide different resources for them. We connect and send out like-minded individuals on our national ride. I'll talk about that really specifically in a minute, but there is such beauty to like-minded individuals who are so passionate and driven by one thing, coming together as like one unit and then being sent forth on a mission. You know, that's what the apostles did, right? Jesus sent them out, and they were all together, and he sent them out. And yes, he sent them out 2 by 2. Honestly, that's how our riders ride in the roads. They go 2 by 2 a lot of times. So I guess we're kind of sending out 2 by 2 too. But we send out our missionaries who all together just stand for the beauty and the goodness of life. How amazing is that? How amazing is that witness to see people riding down the road, all wearing the same thing, backwoods in Mississippi or coming down through Wisconsin, and people are like, what's happening? What is that? And it's our team. It's our team of missionaries who are ready and willing to talk about the goodness and the beauty and the inherent dignity of life. How cool is that? That's amazing. We give young people opportunities to use their gifts. This was really big for me. This is kind of what sold me on the organization. A little background. Hey, Nikki. A little background from me. I've actually never ridden with Biking for Babies. So I've been a part of Biking for Babies since 2014. I've been the president for 2 years, I think. And I've never even ridden with Biking for Babies on a bike. I don't ride bikes. I mean, I did when I was like 12, but I don't ride bikes professionally now or anything. So it's so cool to see people who have these like physical gifts that we would not necessarily associate with like spiritual goods or spiritual fruit, be able to use that physicality, that athleticism in a way that brings so much good into our world. And not just because they're being a witness, but because what they're doing ultimately is saving lives. Y'all, it's straight saving souls. That's amazing. Joy Pinto, if y'all have ever heard of her, she runs a pregnancy resource center up in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm in South Alabama, and she has a show on EWTN, and she calls the pro-life movement the most exciting ministry on the planet. And I think that's so true, and it's so beautiful because there is so much room for goodness that in this movement that is not even touched yet. You know, how awesome is that? Not even touched yet. There is so much room for good, and that's what we're trying to propel our missionaries to do, is to use their gifts in such a way that it benefits others, that they're not just keeping it to themselves. You know, they're not hiding their light under a bushel. But they're letting it shine for all the world to see through the back roads of Colorado and Ohio or wherever else they're riding. And the last thing that we try to do is to share the pro-life mission across the nation. Very obviously, that's at the base of a lot of what we do. And I don't know how other people feel about this, but especially after going to the March for Life this year in Washington, D.C., I just have this beautiful feeling of the tide turning. So long, our culture has been so against being pro-life. It seems like that's like not the cool thing to do or not the right thing to do or whatever it is. But I just feel this immense joy that the tide is turning and that being pro-life is becoming more and more mainstream. I don't know if that's really the right word, but it's becoming more and more common, more and more beautiful, more and more attractive, because people are really seeing truth now. And how amazing is that? So that's what we do. And we go across the country, like all across the country, which brings me to our national summer ride. And this is what I know a lot of people probably who are on here are wanting to see and to learn about this year. What does our 2018 national ride look like? So every year we do a national bike rides across the country. In previous years, it was when it first started, when Biking for Babies first started, it was just around Illinois. And then it went from Chicago all the way up to, New Orleans all the way up to Chicago. That was actually when it started on like the south side of Lake Pontchartrain. If anyone's familiar with that area down there, we started on the south side of it and then tried to ride across the bridge across Lake Pontchartrain. I think that's what lake it is. I think that's right. And got pulled over and they said we couldn't do it. So now we start north of New Orleans in a city called Tylertown, Mississippi, where there's a wonderful group of people that love having us there. I digress. So it used to be from New Orleans to Chicago, and then we split up and started in St. Augustine, Florida, and then also New Orleans, and then also Dallas, Texas, and had 3 cross-country rides that all kind of went like this up to Chicago. And then, so we kind of built from that, and now what we have is something that's called Biking Across America, where we're literally forming across the nation. And hey, Griffin, I'm glad you got out of lab early. We form across the nation, and so we start in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Columbus, Ohio, Tylertown, Mississippi, and Denver, Colorado. And we end up in St. Louis. It's about 600-ish miles in 6 days. Hey, Catherine. And last year we had 3 of those legs completed. So we did the northern route from Green Bay, the eastern route we actually started near Pittsburgh last year, and then the southern route, which started a little bit south of Tylertown. And it was absolutely amazing. We got to touch so many more new cities. We got to meet a lot more new friends, and it was really cool. So this year we're hoping to do all 4 rides. So also the one starting in Denver, which means we have a lot of opportunity here. We have a lot of people that we can touch. We have a lot of new communities that may or may not have heard of Biking for Babies, may or may not have even heard of the pregnancy resource centers in their area. And we are so excited and ready to evangelize to them and tell them what those pregnancy resource centers are doing in their communities. You know, like I said, it's not really easy to find pro-life or life-affirming pregnancy resource centers unless you really know what you're looking for, or unless they figured out the Google algorithm. It can be kind of difficult. And so a lot of people don't even know when there's one in their area. I just found a new one in our area, actually, not very far from me. And I've lived here for like 2 or 3 years now. And so anyways, that's our chance to talk to these communities and say, look at what goodness is happening here. Look at the lives that are being saved. And you could be a part of that in a really, really real and specific way by giving of what you have. So anyways, going back to the ride, each leg of the ride is around 600 miles in about 6 days. The Denver ride is a little bit longer. I think it's like 1 extra day and about 120 extra miles or so. And all end in St. Louis. And those dates, for those wondering, are July 8th through July 15th. The first and last days are travel days to get you to your starting location. But we don't send our missionaries out just all willy-nilly. We have a very good formation program that we've been developing over the past couple of years to get riders and support crew ready in a couple of different ways. So one is physically. Obviously, we can't send people out on bikes, expect them to ride 100 miles in 100 miles for 6 days in a row. Like, that's unsafe if we just expect people to do that. So we have this really awesome person. His name's Kevin. He's our training specialist. I think his wife is on the call right now. Maybe he is too. I don't know. And Kevin's developed this whole training plan for the riders to physically prepare for the ride, because preparation looks different wherever you are in the country. If you're up in the northern part of the country, you can't really get on a bike outside until, I think I've been told, April, because there's snow, it's too cold to be outside for, extended periods of time. In the South, we have a cold spell right now, but people can get on their bikes and ride around right now and start training. So Kevin has developed this very deliberate training plan and has developed a system of accountability using Strava, for those who are familiar with that. And we'll be rolling that out this year for our missionaries to make sure that they're physically ready for this ride. We also prepare our missionaries spiritually by helping them to unite whatever sufferings they're experiencing, whether it's exhaustion or they're tired and don't want to train, or frustrated at, whatever it is, their pedals broke or whatever, by uniting that with the sufferings of Christ, because we know that that's redemptive. We know that through Christ's suffering, there's redemption on the other side. And if we unite our sufferings to his, there also will be redemption there for us. How awesome is that? It's so beautiful. And so we form our missionaries and give them different ideas and different ways they can do that. We talk about different pro-life figures in history. We talk about different prayers that they could pray. We talk about or give them some different resources that they can use to learn how to be a pro-life apologist. That's not always the easiest thing, to be able to defend the pro-life position, especially if you're just unprepared for it. And so we give our missionaries different resources that they can actually learn different apologetics topics, if you will, to defend that stance whenever someone combats it. We find it's really important that our missionaries get that in the event that when they're speaking or inviting people to join the mission, there's some kind of backlash. We want them to be prepared. Absolutely. Kelsey mentioned over in the comments that the friendships you make on a national ride are lifelong and so meaningful. It's so true. Going through the national ride is usually unlike anything people have ever done before. There's very little that compares to it, just like I mentioned earlier. And you're all going through it at the same time with the same intent, with the same goal, the same focus, the same mission. And it just unites the group in an amazing way that, I keep saying this, but it's unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And I've done it for 3 years now, And each ride's different because of the people that are on it. But it's so amazing that everyone who's like-minded on that ride and is fighting for the same thing, is going towards the same thing, gets something beautiful out of it, no matter what it is. Super cool. Good point, Kelsey. Absolutely. We also prepare our missionaries financially. So there is a bit of a fundraising piece to the Bike for Babies ride. We're supporting the pregnancy resource centers through the financial donations that we receive. Each missionary is partnered with a pregnancy resource center, hopefully from their area. That's our goal, is to partner like for me, I'm in Alabama, I would be partnered with a pregnancy resource center in Alabama so that I can learn what they're doing in their centers, what good things they have been doing and have accomplished, how many lives they've saved, that kind of stuff, what they still need to do in their communities, what they're lacking, what their need is, those kind of things. And that way I can talk about that with the people that I'm asking to support the mission near me. Because it's a lot more meaningful when it's someone near you and not, I'm not speaking about something that's happening over in Montana. It's great that it's happening in Montana, but what does that have to do with my community? Not as much. So we form our missionaries to be able to fundraise for these pregnancy resource centers by giving them a financial goal of, I think it's around $2,000 this year. And we tell them exactly how to fundraise, what are some different strategies they can do, whether it's talking at churches, writing letters, calling people and kind of what to say, just different things like that. We don't leave them hanging, absolutely not, because we want them to have ownership in supporting the resource centers this way as well. And so we have Drew Hennish, if anyone knows Drew. Drew Hennish used to be a Focus missionary, and he, along with Jimmy Becker, who also used to be a Focus missionary, have kind of developed this wonderful fundraising protocol that our riders and support crew get to use to fundraise for these pregnancy resource centers and invite people into this financial mission that we have. And I just explained the PRC partnership to you. I was about to talk about it, but if anyone has questions about it, just let me know. So in actuality, this is kind of what the ride looks like. I'm wrapping up here soon, I promise. In actuality, the ride is like this. You get there on Sunday, get to your starting location, which of those 4 cities it is. On Monday, you'll wake up around dusk. Honestly, dawn. You wake up around dawn, not dusk. Around 5 o'clock, 5:30 or so, and you're usually on the bikes by 6 because during July in most parts of the country, it's hot and it gets super hot during the day. So we start early, ride for about 100, 120-ish miles during the day. Throughout the day, the riders and the support crew are praying for the women and the children at the pregnancy resource centers. They're praying for an end to the culture of death in our nation. They're praying for anyone that they've brought with them spiritually on the trip. One time, one of our, I don't know if Brittany's on or not, but Brittany rode while she was pregnant. How cool is that? So obviously she and her husband, who was also doing the ride, were praying for their unborn child, that whatever sufferings they were experiencing as parents to this ride would benefit in the long run spiritually their child. So the riders and the missionaries are praying the whole way. And then at the end of the day, once we get to the next city, we'll stop usually at a church that's around there. Oh, there she is. She is on here. And I'll stop at a church, and they'll usually provide some kind of like potluck or spaghetti dinner kind of meal, carb loading that happens, lots of carbs on this trip. And we get to share exactly what we're doing. So we'll share, why we got involved with Biking for Babies, what our mission is, what we're trying to do in our culture, all the same stuff that I explained earlier. But it's super cool to explain it to different communities because they always ask different questions, which is really neat. They all have different things that they pull from our talks. They all have different things they want to focus on. And then we just get to talk with them and just celebrate and spend, I call it doing life with them. We just get to be in the presence with them and with our Lord and just talk about how good life is and what good we can make in this world, what good difference, what a good difference we can make in this world. So, and it's really cool because throughout the ride, hey Ryan, I know you'd be here. Throughout the ride, like I said, our riders and our support crew pray, but they don't just like pray some of the time. The term that I think most of us are familiar with at this point, praying without ceasing, is the most true on this ride that I've ever seen in my life, other than maybe a religious, like monastic type community. Because what's happening is as our riders are pedaling and they're in their 80th mile of the day in like a couple of hours, I don't remember how many hours it takes to ride 80 miles, a few. a lot of hours probably. But anyways, they're pedaling and they're going up this super massive hill, and they're tired and they're sweaty. And in Mississippi, it's like 105 degrees outside or something like that. And all they can do is lean into the hand of God. You know, there's nothing that they can do more than lean into the providential hand of God and realize that it's not them that's going to push them these last 20 miles. It's Jesus Christ is going to help them get them there. And it's so cool, once we make this connection that he is what's propelling us, it's not us, it's all him. Once we make that connection, that transforms our lives. That totally transformed my life the first time that I did it. It changed the way that I thought about prayer. It changed the way that I thought about myself. It changed the way that I thought about how I was able to do things and how it wasn't me, but really wasn't me, because I can't do that. You know, I couldn't go as far as we needed to go, even though I was in the van. I wasn't on a bike, but I couldn't go as far as I needed to go without Christ, without his help, but without him being there consistently with me. So our missionaries have some really cool testimonies about that kind of stuff. It is really neat what fruit has come of these national rides. And if you know any Biking for Babies missionaries, reach out to them, see exactly, you know, what they got out of it, because it's different for every person, but it's all super beautiful, super unique. So a couple of last things really quickly. I collected a couple of questions from former missionaries that would have been things that they would have liked to know before they joined. Hey, Bailey. Hey, Dylan. Hey, Trisha. Hey, Uncle Doozy. My uncle's on here. Hey, and Tiffany. Man, this is awesome. So a couple of frequently asked questions, if you will, that they wish they would have had answers to before they joined, even though they joined anyways, but they're just helping you guys out. So is there a specific age that Biking for Babies is open to? 18 to 30, that's usually what we go for. It needs to be someone who's after high school, college age, and young adult. So 18 to 30. If you don't ride a bike, that was one of the questions that people say is like, this organization sounds awesome. It sounds like the fruit of what happens is beautiful, but like, I don't ride a bike. How can I still be involved? Well, we have this really cool thing that's called Support Crew, in which people will ride in a van like I did for 3 years and literally keep the bikers alive. So we go through and we're filling their water bottles. We're giving them food so they can keep going throughout the day. I just want to point out too that the bikers, for the most part, usually only stop like 6 or 7 times during the day on a national ride. They don't stop very frequently. They just keep going. But anyways, so the support crew goes and they make sure that the riders are safe. They make sure that roads are clear ahead. If the roads are not clear, they'll come back, report to the bikers, tell them to hop in the van so we can bypass busy intersections or whatever it is. And so they're the ones taking care of the riders. It's also really cool to be support crew because we are the ones that usually get to have a lot of really personal conversations with unexpected people. So during the bulk of the day, the riders are obviously on their bikes riding. And when we're not giving them water or whatever, we might be at a gas station, you know, filling up the water coolers or the car or whatever it is. And people are like, dude, what's on? Like, what are you guys doing? I just saw that group of bikers go by. What's happening? And we get to tell them about what we're doing and why they, you know, why we all are called to respect life and what that means for them. And we've gotten some really cool support from people over the years. It's been really cool. So it's been a really beautiful thing to have that unique role in the organization, to where even if you don't bike, even if that's not your forte, like me, you can still be involved and support those who are biking with the same type of mission. So you're the same mindset, same passion, same, you want to have the same mission and same fruit of the organization. You can do support crew. So a question, yes, father is over 30. There are a couple that are over 30, not many. So I guess I should have said it's young adult age. So most churches have like a young adult group that goes from like 21 to 39, I think is usually what most of them are. Most of our riders stop riding around 30, but I'm a baby priest. So it is open for people over 30, not over 39. But most people don't do it after 30. So target age is usually just 18 to 30. I hope that clarifies that too. People ask, what if I'm not in the cities that we start in? So what if I'm not in Green Bay, Columbus, Ohio, Tylertown, Mississippi, or Denver, Colorado? I live in Mobile, Alabama, and that's none of those places. It never has been any of those places. So what happens is we will coordinate transportation to those starting locations wherever you're from. And usually what people do is just pick the leg of the route that's closest to them. So I've ridden the southern route, which starts in Mississippi, because that's closest to me in Alabama. There's people that live in Chicago that they'll usually ride the northern route because it starts in Wisconsin. Also, if people, for example, Ashley, who is our PR coordinator, she was on support crew last year, and she's from Columbia, Missouri, near St. Louis, where we ended. And so she just picked a route that worked for her and just ended up where she's from. So that worked out too. So if you're not in one of those starting cities, you can still join. We just have to work out your transportation to and from the ride itself. Do I have to be Catholic? No. So this is not a Catholic organization. This is a pro-life organization. We've had a big number of Lutheran riders and support crew in the past couple of years, especially. Before then, we've had some non-denominational Protestants that have joined us. I think there was like a Methodist that joined us one time. It has been mostly Catholics because that's just what people's circles, that's who run people's circles. And usually the message of Biking for Babies gets spread by word of mouth. So it tends to be a lot of Catholics, but it's not just a Catholic organization. And we're working to make it even more ecumenical as well. So do you have to be Catholic? No, you just have to be pro-life. That's the bottom line. Just have to be pro-life. What if I don't have a bike? That's another question. That was a question that we answered last year, actually. And hey, Kristen. Kristen just had a baby. Pro-life right there. What if I don't have a bike? Catherine joined us last year. She's a first-year rider from Tennessee, went to or goes to University of Alabama, and she didn't have a bike, but she wanted to join us. And so we were able to find her a bike. Dirk said he didn't have a bike. He was a first-year rider that joined us on the Eastern route. He was able to find one, I think he said through a yard sale or an estate sale or something like that. So if you don't have a bike but are serious about wanting to ride, we can figure it out. We have connections kind of all over the place, kind of bizarre, but we have a lot of connections that we can make something work out. We can help you find a bike. If you're like, oh, I'll totally buy one, but I don't even know where to start. We have people that can give recommendations on what type of bike, how to get fitted for a bike, what equipment you need, those kind of things. So if that's your concern, if that's the only thing holding you back and you like really want to do it, don't let it hold you back. Father Patrick says he can help you find one. Father Patrick's like the most connected individual I've ever met. So when he says that, he means it. He can help you find one. It's awesome. The other thing with that is that as long as you join and are serious about it, you have to train appropriately. So you have to get a bike early and you have to train in order to be safe on the ride. So that's the other side of, even if you don't have a bike, we'll get you one. You just got to train well. That's it. What costs are associated with it? Not too much. We have a ride fee for both missionaries and, all missionaries, riders and support crew that pays for gas, it pays for food. It doesn't pay for lodging because everywhere we stay is free, but it pays for those two things, and those can add up to a good amount over 6 days for multiple people. And I'm not talking dinner type food. I'm talking like snacks to keep the riders fed while they're biking 100 miles a day because they need calories. They need to be fed. So there's those fees. If you're not in one of the starting locations, you'll pay your own transportation fee to get there. But like I said, a lot of people, we have carpooled. 1 year when I did the southern route, my friend Andrew came from Atlanta, and my friends Celeste and Christina came up from Orlando, Florida. And then we met up and then drove over to Mississippi, and it worked out totally fine. So we'll make it work out however you need, but that cost is on you. And then also, if you're a rider, support crews don't have to worry about this. But if you're a rider, you get to purchase one of these snazzy jerseys, except they don't look like this anymore for those interested. They're similar, but the ones we have now are yellow. but it's a jersey like this with sleeves or no sleeves. It's got the food pockets in the back, which are really nice. Fit a lot of food back there, aerodynamic and stuff, and that's a small cost as well. But that's it. That's the only cost that we ask for. It's just the ride fee, get your transportation there, and a jersey. Update, Dirk found a bike by volunteering in an organization that fixed up used bikes and then gave them out. So there could be one of those in your area. There is actually one in my area. It's very similar to that. So there's a lot of different ways to get a bike if you don't have one. People ask, how do we choose PRCs? How do we choose the pregnancy resource centers to support them? Well, I have not got your package yet, Father Patrick. Sorry. I'll keep looking for it. Maybe it's in the office and they didn't give it to me. The Pregnancy Resource Centers fill out an application. It's closed for this year, but they fill out an application, and they're selected based on the demonstrated financial need, their commitment to life-affirming actions, so the different advice and information that they give out at their centers. They don't provide abortions or do abortion referrals. And the last bit of it is if we have a missionary to partner with them. So that's kind of a different take that we've done this year to ensure that we're being good financial stewards to these organizations. Is we are not accepting an organization unless, as a PRC partner, unless we have a missionary that is dedicated to partnering with them and supporting them. So we've had 38 pregnancy resource centers apply for financial partnership this year, and we don't have that many missionaries yet. We still have a lot more we need, especially missionaries in Alabama, Missouri, and Iowa. That's where most of our PRCs are from, those 3 states. There's still PRCs from other states, but those 3 especially, we really want to support these centers, but we're going to be good financial stewards and only support them if we have someone that's able to basically represent them on our side of the organization. So, but that's how PRCs are chosen. Like I said, that application's closed for this year, but we'll link the PRCs up with a missionary once all the missionary applications are in. Talk about that in a second. Do I have to be in college? No, like we were talking about with the age requirements earlier, you just have to be out of high school, so 18, and you can be in college, but it's college age or young adults. So I think actually I take that back. Last year, it was about half and half young professionals who are out of college and also students in college. A lot of freshmen actually last year. So no, you don't have to be in college. How much of our money goes to pregnancy resource centers? 100% of our donations go to pregnancy resource centers. Yeah, I still am like blown away by that statistic because that doesn't happen very often. So very, very cool. And yes, we provide a training plan for the riders. And that training plan is adjustable. So Kevin has developed a couple of different ones, whether it's you're primarily training on your bike, whether you're doing some cross training with some running, or if you're just doing some additional like at-home body weight type workouts. He's provided details on all of those things and can kind of personalize it for what you need. And there's a lot of people now that will be joining us this next year that have done this before, and they will also be able to help you in your training, whatever it is, whether you need just accountability or different advice, they're there for that too. So that's all of my frequently asked questions. The last big thing I want to talk about is other ways people can help if they're not able to do National Ride. We've talked to a lot of people that maybe they have internships coming up or are doing something like that where they just can't commit over the summer or can't commit this early. So they want to know like how else can they help this organization? So one of the ways is to volunteer services or goods. All of our executive team is volunteer. And like I mentioned a lot earlier, I think there have been a couple of individuals who have donated money specifically so that we can run the organization. So pay for costs like our mailbox, our online processing fees, those kind of things. And there's also people who have donated goods like shipping for our t-shirts or shipping for the jerseys or printing for different flyers and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that and volunteering some type of service or good, if you design things, if you make videos, if I don't even know what else. It's too late for this right now. But if you have any kind of service or good that you want to donate, please contact us. We operate on a very minimum budget because of wanting to keep our donations going to pregnancy resource centers. And we're not asking very much of the donors who cover all of our costs. So if you have any way to volunteer those things, oh my gosh, please let us know. You can help us plan our stops while we're on the national ride. So in the different cities that we stop in, like I said, we stay at different churches. We have functions or events at the different churches. And if you're in one of the cities that we stop in, which you can see by visiting our website, bikingforbabies.com, you can see exactly where we're going. And if you're in any of those cities and want to help us plan an event, contact us. Let us know. Reach out to us. There's a couple of places in the country that we don't necessarily have set places that we stop. There are a couple of places, like, for example, our Tylertown stop, that we always are stopping there. So there's a couple that are not planned, though, and we do need people on the ground to help us at those different churches to plan those events from their side. So if you're in any of those places or just like, I'm not really sure, reach out anyways, and we can plug you in somewhere, I'm sure. There's something that we do at the end of the national ride. It's called the Celebration of Life. It's one of my favorite things that I do all year. It's so fun. It's in St. Louis. It's on the Saturday of our ride. So this year it's July 14th. Save the date, July 14th. And last year we met in this park outside of St. Louis, or I guess it's inside of St. Louis, but the park we were in is outside. That makes sense. And we sat at picnic tables, had some food, had some live music. We have one of our directors of pregnancy resource centers come up and speak about the good things that are happening at his pregnancy resource center. The riders and the support crew all met at this one place at the end of their day of riding, shared some stories from the road about what had been happening, why they're doing Bike for Babies, kind of what we've been talking about the rest of the time. So come to that, especially if you're in the area or if you just want to trek up because you know someone that's going to be riding this year. Join us for that. It's so much fun. People are so happy and excited, and it's just like a really joyous occasion. So that's July 14th. It'll be in the evening in St. Louis. Save the date. You can get more info from us for that as well. And then the last thing is to, if you want to be one of those donors that I mentioned who is facilitating the cost of us running the organization, so you specifically want your donation to go to us paying for, printing our handbooks, buying T-shirts, those kind of things, the kind of background costs. We have an option now on our giving page that's called the Internal Org Fund, Internal Organization Fund. And so if you want to give part of your donation to pregnancy resource centers and then have a little bit extra in your budget and just want to give it to the organization to be able to pay for our costs, that's another option as well. And it's desperately needed, but we always want as much money to go to pregnancy resource centers as can. So that's just up to your discretion. We just want to let you know that that's an option. And continue to pray for the organization, for our missionaries, for an end to the culture of death, the increases culture of life. Gosh, there would be no point in doing anything of what we're doing without prayer. Absolutely no point. Everything that we do is covered in prayer and needs to be covered in prayer to make sure that we're doing the Lord's will every step of the way. So join us in prayer for that. So in recap, because I'm tired of talking and I'm sure you're tired of listening to me. In recap, the ride this year, the National Summer Ride, is July 8th through 15th. So that's Sunday to Sunday. And we'll start 4 different legs: Green Bay, Wisconsin, Columbus, Ohio, Tylertown, Missouri, which is down at the very, very bottom of Mississippi. Did I say Missouri? Tylertown, Mississippi, down at the very, very bottom of Mississippi. And Denver, Colorado. Those are the 4 places we're starting and ending in St. Louis. And the missionaries will fundraise for pregnancy resource centers with a goal of close to $2,000. There's a small ride fee associated with it, and the jersey cost for the riders who get to keep the jersey. It's not one you have to give back. They're brand new ones. And applications to join us this summer are due on March 1st. So you have about a month to think about it if you need to think that long to pray about it. If you're sure before then that you want to join us, though, go ahead and fill out that application. We'll get in touch with you. We can send you some preliminary information about what you're going to be doing with us. Someone will talk to you about, whatever last questions you have. But all of those are due on March 1st. They can be found on our website, which is bikingforbabies.com. And all this, it's all spelled out, not like the number 4. So bikingforbabies.com /join if you want to go straight to the page where the applications are. One more time, it's bikingforbabies.com. Applications are due on March 1st. So at this point, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to stop talking. But I do invite you to share this video once it's completed with any interested family and friends, because we've been spreading this organization by word of mouth, but we need your help to do that. We need more mouths to spread the organization. And what we always tell our missionaries is don't be afraid to ask. And don't be afraid to tell people, even if you're like, I don't really know if they'd be interested. Tell them anyways, share it anyways, because you have no idea how the Lord is working in their life. You have no idea what the Lord is calling them to do or the questions that they're asking. They may be looking for this one opportunity, some opportunity to use their gifts in a way that that multiplies fruit. You have no idea. And especially after the March for Life, seeing the passion of the young people that were at the March for Life, I would bet that lots of them who you probably know through the grapevine somewhere are looking for an opportunity to increase the pro-lifeness, if that's a word, of our culture. They're looking for a way to spread respect for the dignity of life, and this could be it, y'all. This could be exactly the thing that they are searching for, and that the thing that the Lord is calling them to. So I strongly suggest and encourage you to share that with them. Please, please do. Please continue to pray for all of us, that we get all the missionaries and support crew and riders that we need this year. We're hoping for 44 people this year. Last year we had 20-something. So we're hoping for 44 this year, 8 riders, 3 support crew on each ride. And you can be a part of that and help us make that a reality. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. Keep praying for all of the evangelists in our world, all of the missionaries in our world. They need our support and our prayers too. So God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh, contact information. If you have a question or want to reach out and you can offer something or just want to know more information that you didn't get tonight, you can email me at sarah.weiss@bikingforbabies.com. I'm going to put it over in the chat bar so you can check it out there. Or you can just go onto the Biking for Babies website, and under the About Us section, there's a contact link for me and for any of the other executive members. So just contact us if you have any questions, and look forward to hearing from you guys. Really excited about this year. Thanks. See y'all later.